I think of myself as mainly a horror game speedrunner, but I run a lot of different things, mainly. Is there anything you wanted to say?
So as we both know, me and you know, but they might not know, that Ju-On is a game for the Wii, and in North America, it had kind of an interesting cover. If I could ask the Restreamer to do me a favor and try to show that cover on stream,
Oh,
I would be
goodness.
ever so grateful.
The European cover is great.
Also, thank you, Anon, for the 10 community gifted subs.
Yeah. Getting that money to the Trevor Project.
So I think we might be ready for you to give a countdown.
Oh, yeah. That's, there's something I wanted to mention real quick, which is, I just want to apologize in advance for this awful game you're about to witness. What a better way, isn't a better way to start off the horror block than with was basically the horror game equivalent of a Kusoge game. And in fact, to give you an idea of just how bad this game is, I actually want to read you all this review that IGN made for the game, where they said, Ju-On the Grudge Haunted House Simulator is bad. The graphics are bad, the presentation is bad, and the gameplay is bad. In fact, it's all so bad, the game actually ends up being completely terrible. So yeah, now you know what you're getting yourselves into. I'll just load up a file here. And whenever you create a new file, the game prompts you to select a gender and zodiac sign. It doesn't really matter which one you pick, because the only thing this changes is the text you get on the results screen after each level, and the different text, and the different pieces of text, rather, that you can get doesn't really save or lose any time. So I'll just pick whatever here. Yeah. I think I just heard from Molly we're good for a countdown.
Yep, whenever you want to give us a countdown.
Okay, so timing starts as soon as I select this level here. So we'll go in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Alright, so right out of the gate we have some speed tech. For some reason on save files 1 and 2, you can skip the opening cutscenes at the beginning of each level, even on New Game. I'm not sure why that is. It's probably just some weird quirk with the game, but yeah, there's that. And we'll go to the store here. There's our dog that we're trying to rescue who wandered into this factory. We'll get really chunksed away by that ghost right there. So we have to get a key to open the door. And on the way, I'm going to go over to this chair that's a tiny bit out of the way, but not that much out of the way. I'm going to grab this battery. Batteries are important because not only do they power the flashlight, they also serve as your health bar, in that if the meter runs out, it's game over. And the scary thing about that is this is one of those games that does not have a checkpoint system. So if I die at any point, which there's lots of opportunities for me to die, I will have to start the level that I died on from the beginning, which is particularly scary with some of the later levels that are 10 plus minutes long. So hopefully it doesn't become an issue, but I have enough padding in the estimate to accommodate for that anyway. And there I just picked up a collectible. This is a true ending run. Essentially what that entails is there's 17 collectibles spread across 4 levels, and I will have to collect all 17 of those collectibles in those 4 levels to unlock a secret 5th level, which once I beat that, it'll play an ending cutscene and some credits, which gives a proper ending to the game because the 90% of this is kind of boring and Resident Sleeper to me, honestly, because it ends very abruptly and you don't really get a proper ending. Right here, as soon as we go to the store, we'll have our first QuickTime event at the run, which is something this game has a lot of. The general idea behind the QuickTime events, as you'll see, is there are those arrows that appeared on the screen. and I basically just have to shake the Wii remote in the direction that the arrows appear. And in that case, the arrows were pointing left and right, so I just had to do a quick left-right motion with the Wii remote. And in this room is a new skip that I actually found just earlier today while I was practicing. All you have to do for it is move slowly around this barrel and hug this wall. There we go. And that might have looked like that did absolutely nothing, but what that actually did is it skipped a cutscene where a character named Toshio jump scared us, or would jump scare us. And that saves roughly 6 seconds or so. It's a small time save, but it's still worth it to go for. And the shore is another collectible. And for some reason I haven't had it happen yet. But in this section where I go up to grab this key and the collectible, there's a thing that can happen where that Toshio character that I mentioned before can jump scare you. And the reason I even mentioned that is the jump scare is random, in that where Toshio appears on the screen and when the jump scare happens, if it does happen at all, is completely random. So even if you've played the game a bunch like I have, it's still kind of hard to anticipate when the jump scare will happen. In fact, on my very first speed runs of the game, I still got scared quite a lot by that particular jump scare, which I find kind of funny. Alright, so essentially the plot of this level is we play as this girl named Erica. Our dog, Ivy, who I mentioned before, wandered into this rundown factory kind of haphazardly, and we have to try to rescue Ivy. And our way of doing that is to go up to this elevator, which we'll reach by going up these stairs. And you probably noticed it so far in the first 4.5 minutes already, but this game has probably the slowest walking speed you will ever see in a horror game. And if you're wondering how short this game would be with the run button, I would estimate around 20 minutes shorter, which is kind of nuts. Because the levels themselves are actually pretty short, they just take so long because of the fact that there's no run button. Yeah, we're just gonna go over to the elevator here to try to make our escape. And all of a sudden, someone downstairs just breaks the fuse box to the elevator. So we have to find a way to fix it. Conveniently enough, the room to where we can get the supplies we need to fix the elevator is right there in front of the elevator. Very kind of them to put the key there. And we're just gonna make our way down to the inspection room. Get the stuff that we need to fix the elevator. And the other kind of janky thing about this game, besides the movement speed, is that, well, obviously this is a game on the Wii, and this kind of came out at a time or a time period that I consider kind of significant, or at least, yeah, significant, where a lot of horror game developers, or at least just developers in general, really wanted to capitalize on the motion control capabilities of the Wii with horror games, in order to add to the realism factor of the games, of horror games rather. And this was one of those attempts at it, and it did not turn out too well. Mainly because of the fact that sometimes the controls just don't respond well. That, or the controls just sometimes like to be picky about where the sensor bar is in order to function properly. So sometimes you might see the cursor just drift off into left field. And that's not me doing it, that's just the controls wigging out. You might see that a few times in this run. So yeah, there's the last collectible on this level. Going over here to get the stuff that we need to fix the elevator, which is the power switch. And one thing I'll do as soon as I got the power switch is, do a bit of a quick turn there. Which you do by turning the Wii remote swiftly to the left or right. And that allows you to save a bit of time and movement. soon as we get out here, we'll get a phone call, which you might hear in the mic. I apologize if you do. Because the neat thing about the game, even though it is kind of a bad horror game, as I prefaced the run with at the beginning, there is actually some really cool things this game did. One of those things being that certain sounds play through the Wii Remote speakers, like that little ringtone and the death rattle you heard there. That also plays through the Wii Remote speakers, again, to add to the realism, to be more immersive, I suppose. But yeah, we have the power switch. We just need to go over here. The kind of cue that I use to tell when I quick turn is during a small cutscene like that one, I hold backwards, and as soon as I start moving backwards, I know that I've gained control of the character and can input a quick turn. As you input a quick turn during a cutscene, that input won't register. Right? We're almost there. We just have to round one more corner, and we think we're home free. But we aren't. There's this ghost chasing us now, whose name is Kayako, and I'll explain more about her and the lore of Ju-On series in the next level. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to the lore. So we'll definitely have plenty of time for that in the next level, which is actually the longest level in the game and in the run. Yeah, I'll do a quick turn here as soon as I get into the elevator to save time, then interact with that elevator button there to activate this ending cutscene. And here we have probably the best doggo in video game history, because Kayako will try to attack us here while we're in the elevator, and Ivy, our dog right here, decides to take one for the team and sacrifice himself. But we don't know yet that he sacrificed himself. We'll find that out later on, but there you go. That's the first level down. We have 3 more to go, and then the secret level. And this is the results screen I was talking about before I started the run. It doesn't really save or lose any time, the different texts that you can get, because you just have to click the OK option to get out of the screen. But yeah, the plot behind this game, since we have time to explain it, we play as this family of 4 that are being haunted by this Ju-On curse, and I'll go into a bit more depth now as to what the Ju-On curse actually is. So the plot, or backstory rather, behind Ju-On is a little dark, so I'll try to explain it in the least dark way that I can. Basically, there's this woman named Kayako, a husband of hers named Takio, little son named Toshio, and then a family cat named Mar. What happened is Kayako started to have feelings for another man, to the point where she ended up writing obsessively about this other man in her diary. And Takio wasn't too happy about that. So his reaction to that was to kill her, which is not great. And in the process of killing her and Toshio, Toshio and Kayako arose as these things called onryos in Japanese, which is basically just angry spirits. And how the lore goes is that once they arose as these angry spirits, they laid this curse upon their house to where whoever enters it gets tormented by the curse, which is usually Kayako or Toshio appearing to them in an illusion, to where they eventually die in some way. Not really die, in some cases they just disappear, but that's the gist of it. So we play as this, in this particular level, we play as the character named Miki, the mother of the family we play as in this game. She wakes up in this hospital, who I don't know how she got in this hospital where there's no staff or patients whatsoever. We'll just roll with it though. If I really had to chalk it down to something, I would say it's just the developers didn't have room for other NPCs in this level in their budget. Anyway, we have our new QuickTime event here for the first time, which is this type here where you don't shake the Wii remote in the direction of the arrows, but rather you just point the cursor at the circle, and you have to keep the Wii remote cursor within the circle. Luckily though, the window is pretty lenient in that you have a few seconds or so before you die to get the cursor back in the circle. So even if I get the cursor outside the circle for a little bit and miss the circle, I'm still fine. Don't have to worry about it necessarily. And Kayako appears out of nowhere trying to snuggle with us in the bed. So doing that little QuickTime event here rewards us with a collectible, which in this level is the Scribble Fragment. We'll go over to the left here. Enter this. Wait, that was weird. I'm kind of mystified as to what happened there, because there was a cutscene that's supposed to play there. I'm kind of weirded out by that. Huh. I guess I somehow missed a trigger? That's really weird. I think I know what the problem is. I can try to fix it. We are currently experiencing technical difficulties. But yeah, I'm not sure what happened, honestly. I think I know what the problem is. Which is, I was meant to go in this room, my left coming up, and hit a trigger, but I somehow missed the trigger? Kinda weird. No, I'm actually kind of scared because I've never had this happen before. Oh, goodness. There we go. Now I hit the trigger. That's potentially going to change my battery route throughout the rest of the level, but that shouldn't be a problem. Had a bit of an oopsie there, but I managed to fix it. So unfortunately it lost me a bunch of time, so rip world record, but it was a pretty good run up until that point. There's still time to save later, so I guess world record isn't completely dead. So yeah. I noticed I missed the trigger because this cutscene didn't play when I went past this set of tables, but it's fine. So yeah, this cutscene doesn't really make sense. I suppose Kayako is trying to telepathically communicate with us through the TV. But yeah, what's basically happening here is we get a sneak preview at some of the locales we'll encounter in later levels. And we're shown a picture of the hospital roof here, so our character right now, Miki, logically thinks, oh, that's the perfect place to go to make my escape. Like the oblivious horror character that she is. But for now, I have to go into these rooms to hit a few triggers, so I can progress to the basement and then to the roof. Is the basic progression of this level.
So would you have a minute for some donations?
Yeah, this would be a good time.
So we have $6 from R. Krantz, who says, just trying to keep that final digit as close to nice as possible. Well, we're past that now, but thank you for your $6. We have $10 from Anonymous. Thank you, Anonymous. We have $50. Thank you very much from 86 Tater Babies, who says nice, nice. And then we have $10 from Alexa that just says heart.
I'm just making my way back here. There's Toshio right there behind the counter playing peekaboo. There's Death Rattle again, which actually at first here, I guess, sounds a bit like a burp. So yeah, now you'll never be able to unhear that. Let's have a quick time event here. I just swipe the remote left and right to ensure that I hit these prompts. There are some fairly tough quick time events we'll come across later, but the QTEs are fairly simple for the first couple of levels. Nothing too difficult. Conveniently enough, going through this area is actually pretty easy. As you'll see, Toshio there on the screen, he just ran into that bathroom, which is where we need to go next. I swear this game's way, at least in this particular part of the level, of herding you towards where you need to go. Yeah, this stall is where the next collectible is. So yeah, because of that goof from earlier, I might have to get an extra battery. The really cool thing about this speedrun, besides the movement tech and such, and that skip I did earlier, is that one of the ways we optimize the run is by collecting specific batteries. I mentioned before that batteries serve as your health bar, and your usual instinct when doing a casual playthrough or first runs is to grab every single battery possible in order to ensure that you die from the meter running out. Which, that's a pretty good idea for a casual playthrough, but that obviously wastes a bunch of time for a speedrun. So I want to try to pick up the least amount of batteries that I possibly can grab in order to finish the level. And for most levels, you usually grab 3 batteries, but in the case of a later level, we'll only grab 2. And also, you'll notice the screen just went black there. That's not your stream doing any weird stuff or anything. That's the game. Sometimes, and I don't know if it's a thing with just my copy of the game, but sometimes the game just deloads the textures for a moment whenever I go through a door. And I don't know why it happens. It just happens. It's probably just a weird quirk with my particular copy of the game. If you play on your own copy on your own Wii, it might be a bit different. That's a common problem with my particular copy. It's just kind of weird when it happens. And get ready for the most exciting part of the run, because if you remember before of what I talked about with the slow movement speed, we have to go through this hallway 4 times. It's gonna be great. So we have to go through once here to get to the morgue, one more time to get to back to the door we just came through after getting a key, one more time back through this hallway to the morgue to get a collectible, and then one more time to get back to the stairs. I'm pretty sure this hallway alone is why this level is the longest level in the game. Which, this level being the longest level in the game makes it the scariest level to die on. Because you're losing like probably 15 minutes if you die here. At least towards the end. Or rather, at least if you die towards the end. So yeah, there's the key there. I'm gonna go ahead and leave. Yeah, trip number 2 down the long hallway.
Hello, runner. I heard you had a very long walk down a boring hallway.
Yes, I do. We're gonna do like 2 more after this one, so get ready.
Well, why don't I let you know that we have $50, thank you very much, from Mega Sopus. No comment, but thank you for your generous donation. And I would also like to update people on the Silent Hill Homecoming incentive, which is currently at $1,120 out of $2,500, which means we just have $1,480 left to go. And I think we can do it.
If you're not donating towards that incentive, then you're gonna miss out. Because I've seen Starmoon do one of those 2 games in 1 runs, and it's really cool. There's a scroll fragment. We need it for that 3rd trip through the hallway there. So yeah, 1 more trip down this long hallway. 1 more. We can make it. Right? So they have the key that we need to get to the roof, and the collectible in the morgue that we need to get. So now we'll be making our way towards the roof. And if there's anything you want to insert donations or otherwise during this time, that would be great, because this is going to take a couple minutes.
I can actually take a chance to talk about some other upcoming incentives. So on top of the Silent Hill Homecoming Run during Downpour incentive, don't forget we also have character name Bid Wars for the upcoming Final Fantasy IV free enterprise randomizer. Currently in the lead with $1,333.33, that's a lot of threes, is Tifa, with 2nd place being $50 with Trixie. So if you would like to sway that vote and choose what to name a character in Final Fantasy IV, get those donations in. You don't have much of a difference there to beat something else.
Also, that was a QT. We just, like, fenced, basically, with that massive hair hanging from the ceiling. This game is a little weird, as you might be able to tell. Actually, I don't think I'll need to get an extra battery, because the meter looks good right now. Actually, I'm debating whether or not to pick up an extra battery for safety. You know what? I won't pick it up. I don't think I need it. Actually, you know what? Never mind. I'm gonna chicken out and grab an extra battery. I don't really need it because I'm basically at the end of the level right now, but might as well, just for safety. There's 2 different ways you can go about going across the roof here. I'm just gonna go the way that I personally like to go. It probably isn't faster, it's just my preferred route through here. there's our last collectible. Continue on to the end of the level here, which is obviously the best place for a horror game character to be, which is on the edge of a building. I find this next part of the cutscene, or QTE, is kind of funny. Because there's Toshio right here. He has a bunch of supernatural abilities he can use to kill us. What does he decide to do? Push us off the side of the building. Anyway, splits here. Apparently I lost over a minute from that, which I'm actually kind of shocked by. I didn't think I would lose that much time from it. But hey, things happen. So yeah, I would think we're safe, but no. Kayako's there, who's gonna push us off the side of the building here. And she's gonna hug us on the way down. Fairly deadly hug, but it's a hug. Alright, that's that. Now we're in the derelict apartments. In this level we play as Ken, the son of the family that plays in this. His purpose with this level is he has to deliver this package to this seemingly abandoned apartment building. Why exactly he is assigned to bring this package to this abandoned apartment complex and he doesn't question it one bit, I don't know, but we'll just roll along with it. And we have a bit of a walk here until we get to the actual apartment building, so any donations to answer would be good.
Currently, we do not have any donations to read, which is very sad, and people should give me some donations to read, especially towards that Silent Hill Homecoming bonus run. Have I talked about that yet? Ah, Gondor has received aid. We have a $50 donation from Lucian who says, 1 speedy spoops? Not enough. There needs to be 2 speedy spoops. Thank you for your donation, Lucian.
Yes, at the same time. So yeah, I guess one thing I can talk about here while we move through the apartments. Each of these collectibles that we've been getting so far... Oh, that's the wrong way. Each of these collectibles that we've been getting so far has some connection to the Ju-On lore as well as the lore of the game. For instance, the newspaper article fragment, which they misspelled as new paper article fragment. When you put them all together, it creates a newspaper article that basically talks about the murders that I explained in the second level, the hospital. The scribble fragments that I got in the hospital, when put together, create a drawing that was made by Toshio as a family portrait. And the diary fragments we're going to get in this level, when put together, form the diary pages that caused Kayako to get killed. Where she wrote obsessively about this other person. Press A quickly enough, you can grab that padlock key from behind the door. Looks pretty cool when you do it. So yeah, we're gonna have another series of quick time events here. Also, Kayako just materializes out of that box. we have some quick QTEs here, and this is a special one because we get introduced to a new type of quick time event there, which is you'll see this arrow, big arrow, appear in the middle of the screen in a relatively flat angle towards the middle of the screen. That's what I call a jab QTE, where for those QTEs you have to point the Wii Remote forward or backward in order to hit the prompt. And a sort of jabbing motion, which is why I call it a jabbing QTE. And being able to anticipate the different types of time events in the game and learning the motions for them are a pretty important part of this run. Because if you don't keep that in mind, you could come across a quick time event that you aren't anticipating and die. Also, I'm paranoid as to whether or not I forgot a collectible. I'm actually really paranoid now. But actually, it's just in this level. Or right here, rather. Never mind. This is the one I thought I forgot, but we're fine. We good. I was thinking of I thought I was in a later portion of the level. Had a bit of a brain fart there. So yeah, we got that key, which we need to get through a padlock gate, which will let me get to the next apartment building, where we're gonna try to make our escape from Kayako. Cheapest jump scare in the entire game. Boom, hands appear out of the ground. It's supposed to be creepy, but it's just funny to me now seeing the hands appear out of the ground. And another thing I haven't pointed out yet is this game, with the exception of this door right here, has some of the most dramatic door opening animations I've ever seen in a horror game. Resident Evil is nothing on this. So yeah, we need to go into that apartment to my left, but we need a key to get into it. We're gonna go upstairs real quick here.
Of all the things that could stop you in this game, a ground full of hands, a head in a cabinet, no, it's a key. The true enemy, locked doors.
Yeah, it's almost like Silent Hill where you just have to repeat it, where you just have to keep searching for keys. Thankfully, it doesn't really have bad cases of obtuse trigger hunting like some newer horror games do. Resident Evil 7 being a particularly case of that. Grabbing this particular collectible is kind of tricky because of what I said before about how the controls like to wig out sometimes. But we got that fairly quickly. And we had plenty of time to grab that before this next quick time event. I actually got there kind of early, so I had to wait for a few seconds before the event triggered. This is one of the scarier quick time events, not because it's difficult, but because of what happens during the quick time event. You'll see that Kayako is here, being kind of creepy. She gets real up close and personal with us. Then the eye roll. It's just really creepy when you play this time. So we have one last walk here to get to the end of the level. And there's one last collectible I have to get as well. And it's in this fridge. The pickup hitbox for it, though, is kind of finicky. But I got first try, but we're fine. I've tended to miss that pickup hitbox before in my runs. Yeah, this is one example of one of those quick time events that you really have to pay attention to. If you're caught off guard by that and you don't put the prompt fast enough, you will die. There we go, there's the last prompt. So the level's pretty much over now. And you would think that we're safe. In fact, the stairs to our truck there are literally right there. So we could just theoretically run right up to the truck. But Ken here makes the mistake of turning around. And that happens to him. Alright, that's the end of that level. Well, there's... Alright, so now we move on to Security Guard's Ordeal. Although in my splits for my actual runs, I call this the Mannequin Factory, because there's a lot of mannequins we'll encounter in this level. Appropriately for a horror game, of course. Anyways, with this particular level, we play as Hiro, the father of the family that's being haunted by the Seikis. The ghosts that we encountered before, basically. And, he has a security guard at this office building of sorts, which for some reason has a lot of mannequins within it. Hence my split name for this level, Mannequin Factory. So, and the power all of a sudden got turned off after a mysterious figure appeared on the cameras. So you have to find a way to turn the power back on. And this level is kind of special as far as the progression goes, because on top of the collectibles I'll be getting for true ending completion, there's also a set of collectibles that we have to collect just to finish the level at all. And that's pin memos. There's three of those rather, scattered throughout the level, and I obviously have to collect all of those. Once I collect all of those, a full 3-digit pin code will form, which will allow me to unlock a door at the end of the level, which will let me turn the power back on. We're going in the side room real quick because there's 2 collectibles as well as a pin code, or one part of the pin code that I need. That was a really good grab there. So I mentioned before about the symbolism with the collectibles. The torn up family picture there, in terms of its connection with the Ju-On lore, is it's a family picture of the ghosts of the people that are now ghosts that are haunting us. And weirdly enough, in the picture, Takio and Kayako's heads are gone, which signifies them being dead. Actually, no, I think it's just that's gone from the photo. There's Kayako there again, being all creepy. But again, this is all supposed to be really scary, but I'm just desensitized to it after so many playthroughs. The collectible is in this next room right here. Again, sometimes the game on my particular copy doesn't load textures. It didn't happen there, but sometimes when I get into this room, the table just decides to stay unloaded for a few seconds. Just kind of weird. This is one of the few, or one of the levels in the game, or the level in the game rather, where I get the least amount of batteries to complete the level with. Like I mentioned before when I explained battery routing, I normally grab around 3 as a good benchmark in each level. But this level is one of those exceptions where I'll be getting 2 batteries instead in total, which might seem like a bit low, a bit of a low amount, but that's plenty to finish the level with, actually. If I do happen to get low, though, I'll improvise and find an extra battery, which ideally shouldn't be too much out of the way. So I grabbed that battery right there just because it's convenient to get it, because it's not too much out of the way. Again, Kayako being creepy. I have to go into the men's room because there's another part of the pin memo that I need to grab. And this has one of the scariest QTEs in the game. The scariest QTE in the game, as a matter of fact. Not because of the scare factor, but because of the execution. Because the circle that we need to keep the cursor inside of will shrink and move really quickly, which makes it kind of hard to keep up. So I'll actually concentrate for a moment here to be sure that I get it. The heartbeat in the background there just makes it so much more intense. But yeah, we're out of that quick event.
Classic Kayako.
Yep.
If you have a minute, I have good news.
What?
We have $20 from the Falcon that says no donations. I can't let that stand. Thank you for your $20, the Falcon. And that is $20 closer to that Silent Hill Homecoming run.
Mm-hmm.
We also have $15 from Ellie, who says, wanted to do my part to help that Silent Hill double feature happen. And, contribute to an excellent cause. Sorry that I can't talk. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Smiley face. We hope you're having a wonderful day.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for your donation.
Mm-hmm. Something else I should mention, by the way, is if anyone watching this is into horror movies at all, you might recognize the name Ju-on. That is because this is actually based off of a Japanese horror movie series, also called Ju-on the Grudge. There are a few there's an American remake trilogy, but I personally don't recommend watching those because they're not too great. But yeah, Ju-on, to give a backstory on the movies, originally started as 2 short movies. 10 Fours, which, if you know the lore behind 4 in Japanese, you know why that's significant. And then I believe Karasumi is the name of the other one. That's those short movies, which are only like 3 minutes long each, kind of gave the base for the rest of the series as far as, hey, there's these 2 ghostly spirits haunting these people. And the Japanese movies are actually pretty good. To this day, they're still one of my favorite horror franchises. So I highly recommend watching that if you ever decide to.
I would also recommend, if you would like to beef up your horror watch list, Japanese horror is definitely very good.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I seriously need to get back into watching those because I haven't watched any in a long time. But don't watch the second and third of the American Remake trilogy because they're not great, like I said. There's like multiple reasons I could list, so I won't list them out, but they're just keep in mind that they're bad movies. There's a reason why they have a very low rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, I personally enjoy them because my bias towards the Ju-On series, but they're still not great. So yeah, there's the last collectible that I got in that box. And it's actually a bit hard to grab than it looks because it's very cleverly hidden in that box. So you have to look really carefully in order to find it. Put in the code here, which is 926. Here at the end there. Plus the big red button. And we're good. Or so we think. This Kayako's gonna attack us again. It's a pretty simple quick time event though. We have I believe an arrow left and then a jab QT. Yeah. And coming up is actually the hardest series of quick time events in the game. Not joking, this is actually pretty hard to execute. So hopefully I get this. Good thing about dying though, if I do happen to die, is the game keeps track of your collectible progress. So I won't have to go out of my way to get the torn up family picture fragments again. Which is really nice, but still doesn't overshadow the 8-minute time loss of dying on this level. So yeah, hardest QTs in the game. Let's go. There we go. We may have passed the hardest QT in the game. We did. I was a little worried about that because on some of my D-Rust runs back a month ago or so, I died on that exact sequence of QTEs. So that's good. Didn't die to that. Alright, so that's all the regular levels done and over with. Now all that's left is the secret level, which is the Cursed House. This is the house of that family I talked about before, where they died and became angry spirits. So this is essentially where the Ju-On curse resides. And what an appropriate way to end off the game with it. And in this level, we again play as Erica from the Rundown Factory. Somehow she survived her encounter with Kayako in the elevator. And we made our way back to this house, which in the lore of the game, it's actually stated that they moved into this house as a new home, so why they decided to move into this house where there were murders before, I'm not sure. But hey, oblivious horror game character logic. So this level is the worst level in the entire game. Because if you remember from before, what I explained about the janky movement and controls, they had a really bad idea of combining that with a level that has really narrow hallways for the most part, and really tight turns. And in addition to that, unlike any other level in the game, we only get one extra battery to work with. So for the entirety of this level, we'll only have 2 batteries worth of health. Which isn't too much of a problem when you go through this level quickly, but it can definitely cause people playing this blind to go into panic mode. Because obviously, if you take too long, the meter will run out and you'll die, and have to restart the level from the beginning. So if people haven't quit, so if people are doing their blind playthrough of this game and they haven't quit yet, this is the point where they would quit for sure. Yeah, small cutscene here where I grab key, or a key that I need to get to a room downstairs. And there's Toshio there again playing peekaboo.
Do you mind if I cut in here for a second?
Yes.
So we just got a $101 donation from 86 Tater Babies, who says, "Let's hit that
Oh, dang.
$7 incentive." Thank you so much for that generous donation. And with that one, we are just over halfway to meeting that Silent Hill Homecoming bonus run. So make sure to get those donations in. You have a little under 2
making
hours.
good progress. And that really pretty deceiving, because with that last prompt, it looks like a prompt where because of how small the arrow was. It's actually a jab QTE because of, again, the flat angle relative to the screen. So I had to do a jabbing motion there. Also, that right there on the stairs is what I meant by the motion wigging out occasionally. Toshio being creepy again. Something I haven't mentioned that I should mention right now. I mentioned before. I'll explain kind of the reasons why they behave the way they do when they attack people. What happened is he was drowned alongside the family cat. That's how he was killed. And when he alongside Mar, and they both arose at the angry spirits, the Onryos, their spirits merged into one. So whenever he does like a scream or tries to attack someone, his signature thing is to meow like a cat. And with Kayako, what happened with her, after Takio found out about the diary pages where she wrote about this other man, she tried running away from him, saying that she tripped down the stairs and broke her ankles, which is why she does a crawl whenever she tries to move towards people. And the reason behind her death rattle is that when she tripped down the stairs and broke her ankle, to her, and then snapped her neck, to the point where the only sound she's able to utter is that death rattle that you've heard her utter throughout the game so far. So yeah, that's the lore behind the ghosts in this game. There's some additional lore I could go with, rather graphic, and I'd rather not mention it here.
Well, instead, we can read a donation.
Mm-hmm.
We have a $5 from Rabbit Traps, who says, "Please, I've got to see that Downcoming double feature. Both these games getting torn apart at once has to be a treat." Thank you so much for your $5, Rabbit. And with that, we inch ever closer to getting to see Silent Hill Homecoming.
Yes. Because even if we don't meet, see, our goal here is just to get to this room, where, much like in the previous room, we're going to go in a closet. And this time, instead of just grabbing a key from the closet, we're actually going to go in the attic. and we'll find out exactly what happened to the rest of the family members that we played it for. So the controls wigged out there for a second.
It seems you might have dropped a fair amount of frames when you were talking about the bonus run, if you would like to repeat yourself.
Talking about the bonus run?
The Silent Hill Homecoming.
Oh yeah, I forgot what I said. Oh my gosh. Remember. I believe I said, even if we don't meet the incentive, it's still going towards a cause, or good cause, and that's the important part. Is basically what I said.
That is very true. For those that don't know, all the money raised is going to the Trevor Project.
And we're coming up on the end of the run pretty soon here. By the way, that quick time event I just went through was the last possible QTE I could die on, because this last one, once I get to the door here, is pretty easy. But yeah, what'll happen is I'll open the door, there'll be a quick time event, and after that quick time event, the screen will flash to white, and once the screen sort of fades from that white flash, that'll be time. So yeah, we go to the store thinking it's our dog, Ivy, if I can get around the stairs there. But as you might guess, it's Kayako again. So yeah. And time. That's the monstrosity that is Juon. If you fall asleep like halfway through the run, you can wake up now. So what was the end time on that? Because I actually had a timer running in the background on my end, and it says 59:33.
I see 59:34.
Nice, I was only a second off. Yay.
And to congratulate that run, we have $50 from Rose, who says heart or less than 3.
What's crazy about this run is I said in a DM with Ali, hey, I'm totally gonna world record. Nope, I'm a minute and a half off. And it was all because of that one mistake in Hop. And whatever, that was pretty good.
It was a very good run. Very interesting and entertaining. Thank you.
Yeah. All of my practice runs ended up at around sub 1 hour, so I knew it was inevitable, even with like giant mistakes like in hospital. And yeah, that's about it for me if you want to transition the scene over.
All right, sounds good. Thank you for your run. Everyone make sure to check out Nerd Squared.
Yeah.
And coming up next, we have RE2 ran by Arcarian. So stay tuned for that. Very new game. Very good. You're going to want to watch.